The key for Woodland Hills, shut down Troy Apke. He was a Wolverine killer a season ago.
Yeah, he was pretty much a lone Wolverine killer last year against Woodland Hills at the Wolverina. Troy Apke's a wide receiver, Division I prospect, a big, tall kid, physical receiver. So Woodland Hills needs to do is do a little bump and run, cover two with these young defensive backs and safeties, and just see what they can do if they can shut him down at all, and also getting some pressure on first-year quarterback Kellen Stout.
Fans, we thank you for joining us no matter where you are across the Woodland Hills Football Network, and most importantly, if you're joining us on our brand new web stream for away games. This is the first time we've ever had a road game streamed live video on the web, and we thank you for joining us on woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com for that coverage. Of course, we're always on Monroeville Comcast Cable Channel 13, Penn Hills Comcast Cable Channel 98, and Verizon Fios Channel 37 on the radio at 1550 WZUM, and our radio coverage is also available on the MSA Sports Network at msasports.net. But of course, that's all secondary to a big football game between two old rivals. They've met lots and lots of times, but just the second time in program history these two teams battle in a Southeastern Conference matchup.
Yeah, typically it's during the playoffs where these two teams seem to run into each other. The last couple, this is the second year in a row, like you said, that Woodland Hills and Mount Lebanon are squaring off at each other. And this is really a big game for Woodland Hills, because as you look down the rest of their schedule, with the exception of Mount Lebanon and Penn Hills, those are the two toughest teams they have to face to get that second seed in the Southeastern Conference, barring actually a couple of mishaps by Upper St. Clair throughout the rest of the season.
The Mount Lebanon Blue Devils won the toss. They have elected to receive. Woodland Hills will defend the open end zone to our right-hand side to begin this football game. A couple of pieces of good news for Woodland Hills fans, including Trayvon Mathis back in the lineup this week after being out of uniform a week ago. James Rooney also expected to start tonight at center. He was not able to go a week ago, but Jay Cassidy did a great job in his stead, and hopefully we'll be able to see Dan Gibson back in the lineup as well.
One side note to that, I did see Jimmy Rooney walk off of the field before, just after the team portion of the warm-ups took place. I'm not sure if he might have re-injured that elbow that kept him out last week, but let's just hope he's back in the lineup today.
Kicking off for Woodland Hills, as always, will be Donald Cassidy. Cassidy's done a terrific job, most importantly, Fred, kicking some field goals in some crucial situations. And he got a big one last week, a 25-yarder off of the right hash. Being a right-footed kicker off of the right hash, you really have to hook the ball in a close proximity like that, and he did a nice job. So it's good to see the special teams game continuing to roll, even without a great kicker like Jordan Potter from last year, but Cassidy, with the experience coming back, has certainly helped him.
Yeah, Cassidy has done a great job of putting the ball down deep into Woodland Hills, or deep into the opposing territory. It's just the fact that the kick coverage has been a little lax this year, and let's just hope tonight they get on track and can hold Mount Lebanon to hold them deep in their own territory.
If you saw or heard the pregame show, you'll know Coach Novak addressed that issue during practice all this past week. Again, kicking off for Woodland Hills, it is Donald Cassidy, and back deep to return for the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils is, I believe, Joey Stabil, and it appears to be Jake Rolfson, and we are underway in Mount Lebanon, PA. A low squibbing kick will be covered up at the 27-yard line by the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils, number 35, Reed Nelson. 1st and 10 for Mount Lebanon, ball at their own 27.
That's one way that's going to help your kick coverage, is by squibbing it to an up guy that's just going to fall on the ball and not advance it any further.
So no time elapses as the play was killed as soon as the Blue Devil touched the football. And it will be Mount Lebanon football again, starting at their own 27-yard line. And Brian Ward will be the quarterback. Ward listed as a tailback, a sophomore, getting the start at QB today. He'll step under center with an eye backfield behind him. Woodland Hills shows blitz. Handoff over right tackle. The ball carrier is Jake Rolfson, and Rolfson, he'll pick up about 5 yards to the 32-yard line, where it is 2nd down and 5 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, it looks like Mount Lebanon is just going to come out and try to outmuscle this Woodland Hills defense. The first play was just a counter. A couple of linemen were pulling. Woodland Hills did a great job of just not, just staying home and not letting them get upfield for a first down.
So the pickup of 5 for Rolfson, and a pistol formation as Ward pushes Rolfson next to him for a traditional shotgun. It'll be a QB keep to the near side on the option, and not much room there for Ward as he tries to bounce it to the near side. Devin Nixon on the tackle for Woodland Hills, and it's a loss of 1, and it's 3rd down and 6.
A good job by Nixon of not biting on the fake from Ward to his running back Rolfson. He just stayed home, and good job by the Woodland Hills defense on that last play.
Woodland Hills in their all-white uniforms along the far sideline. The near sideline sees the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils in their home blue jerseys, white pants, and the blue helmets. Of course, Woodland Hills is always in their turquoise helmets with the black ears and stripes. One back set, dropping back to pass is Kellen Stout. Stout's pass intended for Shane Lefevre is incomplete. So the first 2 plays, a bit of wildcat formation for Mount Lebanon. They bring in their traditional quarterback, Stout, for the first passing play of the football game. That incompletion brings up 4th down and 6.
Yeah, it looks like Mount Lebanon just ran a double post pattern to that left side. I thought that the ball was originally going to go to Apke because Apke was wide open, covered by Art Tompkins, but it looks like it sailed over both receivers' heads on that last play.
Punt formation. Troy Apke is the punter. And back deep for Woodland Hills, Harry Randall. Long time for that snap to come, and Apke gets it, and he'll boot it away. A hand nearly got a hold of it. As the punt comes to the near side, it'll take a Mount Lebanon bounce to the near boundary, and it will bounce out of bounds at the 32-yard line as Apke tries to keep it away from Randall. But Randall will have the football, 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line of the Wolverines.
And that's the type of, first drive that the Woodland Hills defense needed. A nice 3-and-out. Get your offense back on the field, gain some confidence against, Mount Lebanon offense and Troy Apke.
10:32 to play, less than 90 seconds elapsed as Mount Lebanon had the football for just 3 plays. Rooney is the center, so that's good news for Wolverine fans, but I do not see Daniel Gibson along that starting line for Woodland Hills. The right tackle, at least starting, is Jake Cassidy instead of Gibson. Sidecars to either side of Randall, 2 receivers to the right. Handoff will go to Sanders. He looks to bounce it to the far side. He's across the line of scrimmage, across the 35, bouncing it further outside. Now squeaks through, 45-50, 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Miles Sanders. Houdini escaping tacklers near the 40-yard line and raced 60 yards for the touchdown.
We can't really give him the Houdini tag because we already give that to Harry Randall, but I'm in amazement of what I just seen from Miles Sanders because he was hemmed in along the sidelines, made at least 5 Mount Lebanon Blue Devils miss, and then once he broke free, he outran everyone.
Taking a look at the television replay, I mean, it was all Miles Sanders. He got some nice blocks from Shaw out there and a couple of offensive linemen. He was able to slow himself down and then burst through the hole and race the rest of the way for that 68-yard touchdown. The PAT by Donald Cassidy, though, is blocked. Racing in and getting a hold of it is Alex Buxer. Buxer, the 6'6", 300-pound two-way lineman from Mount Lebanon, swats that one away, and it's 6-0 Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. A 68-yard touchdown by Miles Sanders, and he was an absolute magician around his own 40-yard line to spring free and race the rest of the way for the Woodland Hills touchdown. PAT blocked, though, and it's 6-0 Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon here at Mount Lebanon Stadium.
And Wolverine fans, you should not be. This shouldn't be a new thing for us. Like the last 5 games Woodland Hills has played, they've actually scored on their first possession each time.
Cassidy will again squib a kick that will carry inside of the 20. It'll be scooped up by Mount Lebanon along that far boundary. The ball carrier is Jake Rolfson, and he'll be hammered out of bounds right around the 27-yard line again. Mount Lebanon allowing the ball to roll to their deep men, but no better field position for the Blue Devils. They start at the 27 for the second consecutive drive.
Yeah, when you allow the ball to roll, it allows your kick coverage team to rush down there as fast as possible. Woodland Hills is doing a good job so far of just maintaining, some sort of continuity with the kick coverage of not allowing any long yardage.
So Mount Lebanon comes out of the huddle again with their more wildcat formation as Brian Ward again will be the quarterback with a one-back set behind him, wing to the near side and a receiver to the far boundary. Woodland Hills shows blitz from their outside linebackers. Pitch will come to Rolfson to the near side. He'll squeak through a hole and pick up about 4 yards to the 31-yard line. And on the tackle for Woodland Hills appears to be Dante Broadus, and will actually give 5 yards to Rolfson, and it is 2nd down and 5 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, Rolfson didn't see anything on the outside as he took that pitch and just found a quick seam up the middle and burst for a 5-yard gain.
9:40 as the clock rolls here in the first quarter. Woodland Hills up 7-0. One back set. Ward is the quarterback with the wing to his left and the receiver to the right. Pitch will go to Rolfson to the left this time. Looks for the cutback. No room there. A trio of Wolverines are there to make the tackle. And at the bottom of the pile for Woodland Hills is Trayvon Mathis, amongst others. No gain, maybe a gain of a half a yard, and it's 3rd down and a long 4.
And it looks like Dante Broadus, number 2, is back to his normal inside linebacker position. In the last couple of weeks, he's played a lot of wide receiver for Woodland Hills in their offense and actually has been getting a lot of passes thrown his way.
So 3rd and a long 4 for Mount Lebanon. Again, the Wildcat is out there with Ward in the shotgun. Sidecar to his left and Rolfson, receiver to the left. And Ward will take it up the middle. Woodland Hills saw it coming. And it is Dante Broadus making the tackle after a 1-yard pickup to the 34-yard line. And it's 4th down and 3, and the punt unit comes on again for the Blue Devils. And an injured Blue Devil is out there in Jack Durkin. Durkin 6'5", 2 1/4, slowed to get to his feet.
And it was a great job of the Woodland Hills inside linebackers of not biting on that fake and not going with the running back and staying home and just, you know, getting Ward for a nice loss.
So to his feet goes Jack Durkin, and he'll be helped to the near sideline. So again, 4th down and 3 for Mount Lebanon at their own 34. The punt unit comes on. Randall will drop back to return the punt, and it's Apke who will step in to punt it away for the Blue Devils. Clock rolling here. Down towards 8.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Again, Woodland Hills on top, 6-zip. Apke stands at his own 23-yard line, awaiting the long snap. Snap a little slow. Apke will get the punt away, and it will carry to the far side, take a Woodland Hills bounce back towards the 33 to the 34-yard line, where it will be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills. And Fred, I'll tell you what, 2 straight punts from Mount Lebanon, and Dante Broadus has been inches away from both of them.
Yeah, that last one, he came up, luckily he came up a little short, because if he would have went just a little bit further and if Apke would have got that ball off, it probably would have ran into him. Luckily he was headstrong, kept himself a good distance away. But I'm really surprised about this Mount Lebanon offense is they've chose to go to the running game with one of the best wide receivers in the Whippeal on their team right now.
Well, Woodland Hills had a one-play, 68-yard drive on their first possession, as it was a magical run by Miles Sanders. And the Wolverines come out in the same formation with sidecars to both sides of Randall, 2 receivers to the near side left, and 1 receiver to the far boundary right. Handoff this time goes to Joel Shaw. He has some room, bouncing it to the near side. Shaw across the 35 to around the 37-yard line. It'll be a pickup of about 3, and last week's State Senator Jay Costa, player of the game, makes it 2nd down and 7.
Yeah, I like the way Coach Novak is using his quote-unquote change of pace back with Joel Shaw. Joel Shaw is just a big hit, and he's a tough runner. He likes contact, so he's going to try to put his head down and get as much yards as he possibly can.
Coach Novak and I talked about it off camera as we recorded the pregame show. Joel Shaw at 6'2", 240 would be a guard anywhere else in the WPIAL, but for Woodland Hills, he's an H-back. Split backs next to Randall. Randall looks to his right. Little slip screen to Art Tompkins. Tompkins looks for the cutback. Slips through blue jerseys. Spins his way forward to around the 50-yard line. A nice pickup there for Art Tompkins, and it's a Woodland Hills 1st down.
Yeah, and it's good to see Art Tompkins back into the offense and getting his hands on the ball, because he's one of the shiftier players that Woodland Hills has in their backfield. If you give him a chance, if you give him any space, he's going to find it and exploit it.
It's good to see Art Tompkins finding a role as a slot back, because he wasn't going to see a ton of action as a tailback with the ultra-talented Miles Sanders, but as a slot, he's really going to exploit his talents as much as possible. Pickup of 12 on that play, and now Harry Randall will pull it down, and he'll be off to the races inside of the 35, cuts it to the near side 30, still on his feet to the 25, and he'll be brought down at the 23-yard line, and that's a pickup of 27 for Harry Randall.
Yeah, Harry Randall just didn't see anything open in the passing route. So, you know, a good heads-up quarterback like he's been over the past couple of weeks, he's just going to tuck it and run. And unfortunately, he picked up some good blocking downfield as he was, you know, trying to gain some more yardage. He stiff-armed one player. And if it wasn't for Brian Ward, you know, Harry Randall would probably be in the end zone right now.
Two receivers to the right of Randall, one to the near side left. Sidecars to either side of Harry. Harry will hand off. It'll go to Miles Sanders, has a hole. He'll drive his way forward inside of the 20, brought down at the 18-yard line. It's a pickup of 6 for Woodland Hills, and it's 2nd down and 4.
Give a lot of credit to what Woodland Hills is doing right now to their offensive line. They're gelling well. You know, starting out very slow against Mount Lebanon, they've picked up the pace each and every week and have done a great job so far against this Mount Lebanon Blue Devil defense.
And we talked about it with Coach Novak during our pregame show. Eggleston no longer along the offensive line. He's basically strictly defense at this point. Also, Jake Cassidy getting the start at right tackle, as Danny Gibson is not in the lineup, at least on the offensive side right now. The Wolverines will take a timeout, and we will too. With 6:09 to play in the first quarter, it's Woodland Hills 6 and Mount Lebanon 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Mount Lebanon Stadium. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you. Woodland Hills with a 2nd down and 14. The ball at the Mount Lebanon 18-yard line, 2nd and 4 rather, at the 18. Backs to either side of Randall with 2 receivers to the far boundary right. He'll send Tompkins in motion on a jet sweep to the near side. Tompkins tries to turn the corner around the 20-yard line. He'll slide through blue jerseys and finally brought down at the 15-yard line. It looked like Tompkins was going to be brought down for a loss of 2. Instead, he makes it a gain of 3.
It looks like Mount Lebanon's defense underestimated the speed of Art Tompkins on that last play. I mean, Art Tompkins is probably one of the faster guys that Woodland Hills has on their team. He's not very big, so he's very shifty, and if you don't wrap him up, he's going to get away from you.
3rd down and short for Woodland Hills. 3rd down and about 3 with the ball at the 16. So it'll be a gain of just 2 for Tompkins. The initial spot looked like it was going to be a pickup of 3 instead. So again, 3rd down and about 3 from the 16. Motion man from left to right, Heaven Price. Handoff instead will go to Miles Sanders. He'll drive his way forward inside of the 15, close to 1st down yardage. It'll depend on the spot. On the tackle for Mount Lebanon is Matt Christman. And it'll be a Woodland Hills 1st down, a pickup of about 3.2 yards for Miles Sanders there.
And Woodland Hills, Harry Randall actually did a good job of selling that play. He ran with a jet sweep to Havon Price, faked it, gave it to Miles Sanders, and as we all know, Miles Sanders can either run around you, run through you, or move that powell and get the 1st down like he did on that last play.
Wolverines out of the huddle, 1st down and 10 with the ball at the Mount Lebanon 13-yard line, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Handoff on the counter goes to Miles Sanders, and Sanders drives his way forward inside of the 10. They're going to mark him down around the 7-yard line. A pickup of 6 for Miles Sanders. And as the bodies on pile, it's Ben Bruni at the bottom. And again, it's 2nd down. And about 5 for the Wolverines after that pickup of 5 to the 7, making a pickup of 6 to the 7.
It was a good job of Miles Sanders of actually just being patient and letting his blockers get through, you know, where they needed to go, because there was a pulling guard, or I'm sorry, a pulling tackle in Amon Baldwin Youngblood. Miles Sanders just let him get through the line, got right behind him, and picked up some good yards on 1st down.
First time we've seen the pistol formation, and it's Sanders behind Randall as he motions Shaw from left to right. Handoff will go to Sanders, big hole, tries to bounce to the outside, and they will wrap him up around the head. He escaped Blue Devil tacklers, but they will blow the whistle, saying his forward progress was stopped enough to draw the whistle. No gain on that play, and it will stay 2nd down and 4, or 3rd down and 4 rather, at that 7-yard line.
Yeah, initially as that play was developing, Adam, I thought Miles Sanders was going to get himself into the end zone, but it was a good job by the secondary linebackers of Mount Lebanon to close that gap as he was trying to get into the end zone.
Again, the pistol formation, 1 receiver to the near side left, as it's Shaw crabbing to his right. And it's going to be Randall keeping it on the counter. He'll slide his way forward, close to 1st down yardage as they push the pile. And if the spot is true along that far sideline, it'll be 1st and goal at the 1. And they will spot the ball at that 1-yard line. And it's a pickup of 6 for Harry Randall. And Harry Randall, 2 carries, 33 yards, not a bad YPG.
No, he's doing a good job of actually selling that fake. That last play, he had 3 Mount Lebanon defenders around Miles Sanders, but obviously he had the ball trying to get it into the end zone.
Again, it's the pistol formation. Shaw, the slot to the near side left, and he will crab to his right. One receiver to the near side, and looked like everybody was on the same page except for Jimmy Rooney, and that false start's going to cost Woodland Hills 5 yards. We'll check in with our referee just to confirm. And it is a false start against the Wolverines. That'll push them back to the 6-yard line where it'll be first down and goal. 2:56 to play here in the first quarter. Woodland Hills on top 6-0, but the Wolverines are threatening with this first and goal deep inside of Blue Devil territory. Don't forget, next week we'll be back at the Wolverina as Woodland Hills will take on the Baldwin Highlanders in the Southeastern Conference matchup. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be homecoming in Turtle Creek. Shaw motions from right to left this time. Pistol formation, and it'll be a counter for Miles Sanders into the end zone for his second touchdown of the evening. This time it's a 6-yarder, and Woodland Hills is on top 12-0.
Yeah, and that last play, Miles Sanders is just leaving bodies in his way because he's running that time. You know, we seen him on the first play, his first touchdown run, he ran through around. This time he just put his head down, ran through the Mount Lebanon Blue Devil defense and got himself into the end zone.
Miles Sanders, a week ago, had 7 carries for 97 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Thus far here in the first quarter, 6 carries, 89 yards, and a pair of TDs. Pretty good start 2 weeks in a row for Miles Sanders, the Woodland Hills tailback. Here, Randall looking pretty good as well. 1 for 1 in the air, and he has also completed a pair of good runs. Shaw will take the handoff on the 2-point conversion, and there was nobody that wanted to get in the way of Joel Shaw. And the 2-point conversion puts Woodland Hills on top 14-0 with 2:29 to play in the first quarter. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. It's 14-0, Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you at Mount Lebanon Stadium. This time a 6-yard touchdown run by Miles Sanders and a 2-point conversion by Joel Shaw. Makes it 14-0, the Wolverines on top of Mount Lebanon. And the Wolverines over the past 3 weeks just seem to be getting better and better.
Yeah, they're just rolling right now. And it's good to see that they're doing what they're doing on offense against a Mount Lebanon team that, is struggling in the record books, but at any point, they can take off.
Rolfson will pick up the kick around the 10-yard line after bobbling it initially, and he'll be spun down along the near boundary by the Wolverines, Jihad Brown. And it will be 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils right around their own 30-yard line.
Adam, I know it's early in this game. It's 14-0. It's still the first quarter, but you don't want to let this game get out of hand. The way Woodland Hills is doing a great job with ball control, Mount Lebanon's offense has to do something in order to get themselves back into this ball game.
So again, it's 14-0, Woodland Hills. Mount Lebanon now with the ball, 1st and 10 at their own 30. The quarterback this time is Kellen Stout. Stout looks to his left, throws to his left. The pass is low, intended for Troy Apke. And it is 2nd down and 10 for the Blue Devils.
Last year's quarterback, Tyler Roth, was fantastic also in that game against, Woodland Hills at the Wolverina. But fortunately for Woodland Hills, he's graduated. He's moved on to college. And, now they're, have to deal with a new quarterback. Same system, new quarterback. It should be interesting to see what Woodland Hills can do right now.
One back set behind Stout. He'll drop back, look to his left, throw to his left, and the pass intended for Shane Lefevre is incomplete. And Lefevre, I think, may have heard the footsteps behind him from Trayvon Mathis, and that incomplete pass brings up 3rd down and 10. And 3 passes, 3 incompletions thus far for Kellen Stout, and 2 of them not his fault.
Yeah, they're running. Mount Lebanon is running twins to both sides. On the left-hand side, you have Troy Apke lined up in the slot. And what they're doing is they're just running the same route, just 10 yards away from each other. So what happens is the ball's flying over Troy Apke's head, and Lefevre is he's just not hanging on to the ball right now.
One back set behind Stout. Two receivers to the left, two receivers to the right. Stout drops back, looks to his left. It's intercepted by Chris David. David to the far boundary inside of the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, and into the end zone for the 30-yard interception return for a touchdown. 30 yards plus, if you will. And Woodland Hills is on top, 20-0.
And Chris David did a great job of just reading Kellen Stout's eyes, because he had Troy Apke in his sights the entire time. And it looks like Troy Apke continued up the field and didn't break off his route. Kellen Stout threw the ball. Great pick by Chris David and got himself into the end zone for a touchdown.
And his second straight defensive touchdown in as many weeks. It was a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week at the Wolverine. At this time, a 41-yard pick six. Donald Cassidy on to attempt the PAT out of the hold of Harry Randall. Good snap, good hold, kick up. And that kick is good. And with 2:04 to play in the first quarter, it's Woodland Hills 21 and Mount Lebanon 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Mount Lebanon Stadium. A 41-yard interception return for a touchdown by Chris David. And he had to make just one man miss around the 10-yard line as he sailed into the end zone for that TD. The PAT up and in by Cassidy. And again, it's 21-0. Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. And there's still 2 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed, Adam, on the sideline is sophomore quarterback Eddie Jenkins is warming up, taking some snaps from center. So we might see him coming out in this first play of this drive.
And Rolfson will take the kickoff from Cassidy. Again, a low lining kick that'll bounce into Rolfson's hands, and he'll carry it up to the 38-yard line. It's first down and 10 for Mount Lebanon. So 1:58 to go in the first quarter. And coming out onto the field right now, Brian Ward. Stout was the projected starter for today's game, but Ward has come in and run kind of a wildcat formation thus far for Mount Lebanon. High backfield behind Ward. Tight end to the left, one receiver to the far boundary left as well. Woodland Hills with a four-man defensive front. Ward will hand off to Rolfson. Rolfson sweeps his way through a hole across the 40 to the 41-yard line, maybe the 42. Give him a pickup of 4, and it's second down and 6.
Yeah, Mount Lebanon had a little bit of success on those first two drives, running the ball. You know, when you go down 14-0, you got to do something to get yourself back in that game. Unfortunately for Mount Lebanon, they threw a pick 6. Now they're going back to their running game, which it's still early in this game that anything could happen.
High backfield behind Ward. One receiver to the far side left. Handoff will go to Rolfson. Squeaks through a hole, and he is hit, wrapped, and brought down by Chris David. Cleaning up the play, Devin Nixon. But it will be a pickup of 4 to the 46-yard line, and it's third down and 2. 19 yards on the ground thus far for Rolfson on 5 carries.
Yeah, right now Woodland Hills just needs to stiffen up on third down. They've been really good on third down the last 3 series. Let's just see if they can turn it on again.
One receiver to the far side left. Double tight end set. Stepping under center is Kellen Stout. Stout. A flea flicker. Stout is wrapped initially. He'll elude that pressure, come to the near side, and he'll be forced out of bounds. It'll be a loss on the play of about 3 yards. The Blue Devils tried the trickeration, but the Wolverines were coming like a pack of crazed dogs after him. And it's a loss of about 4 on the play, and it's fourth down and 6.
Good job of the front 7 of Woodland Hills of just staying home and not biting. And an excellent job by Trayvon Mathis, who was covering Troy Apke one-on-one, who didn't bite for the fake, because I was looking as soon as that ball came back. I started to look for Trayvon Mathis, and he was right step for step with Troy Apke.
And Apke will stand at his own 31 to try to punt it away. Harry Randall steps back to his own 24 to try to return the punt. And there's movement along both fronts. And I think it's going to be encroachment against Woodland Hills. Devin Nixon. And it will move the ball 5 yards, but it'll still be fourth down, but it'll be decision time for Mount Lebanon. Let's see what they'll want to do here. Looks like the offense is going to come back out for this fourth down and 1 play, as the ball will go from the 42 to the 47. So again, fourth down and 1. Let's see what the Wolverines can do. Is the quarterback will be Brian Ward. Pivotal play for Mount Lebanon. This could be a big momentum swinger. 38 seconds to go in the first quarter. Woodland Hills up 21-0. Blue Devils face this 4th and short. Double tight end formation. Ward steps under center with an eye backfield behind him. Hard count by Ward. The Wolverines stay true. Handoff will go to Rolfson, and he will pick up about 1.5 yards, enough for the first down. Wolverines had some penetration, but not on the spot where Rolfson was going. And the pickup of 2 is a Mount Lebanon first down.
Yeah, Rolfson had to get that on the second effort because Woodland Hills brought, the 3 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers. Rolfson just found somewhere to get through that front and got himself the first down.
High backfield behind Ward again. 1 receiver to the far, numbers left. Double tight end formation. Ward with the hard count. Testing the Wolverines' intestinal fortitude. Handoff will go to Rolfson. He's met right at the line of scrimmage, maybe 1 yard deep in that backfield. Devin Nixon in on the tackle. No, check that. That's a Kyra McLean on the stop. And a loss of about 1 brings up 2nd down and 11.
And also good penetration on that last play by Deshaun Osbrooks. He's basically just running a run blitz against this Mount Lebanon defense. Just did a good job of keeping it back into the backfield.
And that is the end of the first quarter. We will head into the second frame with Woodland Hills leading Mount Lebanon 21-0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the MSA Sports Network and the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Mount Lebanon Stadium. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you. And a great first quarter for the Woodland Hills Wolverines. They got it done offensively and defensively. A pick 6 by Chris David and a pair of touchdowns by Miles Sanders. And the Wolverines have really been rolling over the past 2.5 games.
Yeah, they've done a great job in terms of offense. They're scoring defensively, and then they're getting touchdowns on special teams.
High backfield on 2nd down and 11 for the Blue Devils at their own 48-yard line. Ward's the quarterback. He'll look to the near side left. He'll complete it to Apke, and Apke is brought down at the line of scrimmage. A nice open field tackle by Art Tompkins, and that will bring up 3rd down and 11.
And that's the first time that the Mount Lebanon quarterbacks have actually been able to get the ball to Troy Apke. Woodland Hills has just done a great job on defense of keeping him contained, especially on that last play. It was just a stop route, or just a quick out, and Woodland Hills saw it early and was able to hold it for no gain.
So no gain on the play brings up 3rd down and 11 for the Blue Devils. A little miscommunication, but the Blue Devils find their formation. Ward in the shotgun with a sidecar to his left. He'll hand off to Rolfson. No, he will keep it, Will Ward. He'll step into Woodland Hills territory across the 50 to the 45. The ball came loose. The official near the play says that the ball carrier was down, and Ward will pick up about 9 yards, bringing up this 4th down and 2.
From our vantage point, it was kind of hard to see where the ball came out. I'm looking at the replay to see if it actually was a fumble.
And it did look like that ball had come out before Ward hit the turf. Dante Bradas had the tackle for the Wolverines, but he was not the player who punched the ball loose. So 4th and a long 2 for the Blue Devils. They're going to go for it here at the Woodland Hills 44. 1 back set behind Ward, 2 receivers to the near side left. Ward looks to his right. Pumps, throws, it's incomplete. One of the defensive linemen leaped up and swatted it to the turf. It may have been a Kyra McLean or Devin Nixon, I'm not sure. Either way, it's a turnover on downs. 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills. The ball at their own 44.
Yeah, I think it was actually Eggleston that batted that ball down. His big paws were in the air. Ward just took a little too much time with trying to get rid of that ball. Woodland Hills did a great job of getting some pressure off of that left side of their defense, and Eggleston got his big hands up in the air and batted that ball down.
And look how Eggleston got off of the artificial surface here to swat that one down. That ball hit him in the face mask, virtually. So the turnover on downs gives, again, Woodland Hills the ball at their own 44. 10:19 to go in the first half. Shotgun formation, sidecars to either side. Heaven Price motions from right to left. Handoff will go to Joel Shaw up the middle on the misdirection. He'll drive his way forward for a pickup of about 2. And Fred, I'm going to make a prediction about Joel Shaw over the next 3 seasons. We're not going to call him for a lot of losses.
No, when you get him running downfield, it's hard to bring him. It's hard to bring him down. 240 pounds, only a sophomore, and he probably doesn't know his own strength yet. But once he finds out what it's like, I feel bad for opposing defenses.
2 carries, 5 yards for Shaw. He also has the 2-point conversion that made it 14-0. Again, a shotgun formation, 2 receivers to the near side right. 1 to the far boundary left. And Harry Randall looks to his left, throws to his left. The pass is intended for Chris David, but it was batted out of midair by Bobby Stocker. And that brings up 3rd down and 8.
And that was just a good job of Stocker of staying home. Actually, he looks like he broke out a little bit into the flats and just saw that ball was coming to the wide receiver and just put his hands up and swatted that ball away.
Clock stopped here with 9:33 to go in the second quarter. Woodland Hills on top, 21-0. Shotgun formation. Rooney steps over the football. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the near side right. Sidecars to either side of Harry Randall, the senior QB. Randall, straight drop back. Throwback screen to the near side intended for Miles Sanders. But a very tall and long-armed defensive lineman, Matt Hoffman, swats it to the turf, incomplete. And for the first time today, we'll see the Woodland Hills punt unit come out onto the field.
It's a good job of Mount Lebanon's defense of stepping up on that drive. You know, being down 21-0, you got to do something to get yourself back into this ball game. But excellent job of 2 PBUs by the defense. And boom, you got the punt team for Woodland Hills on the field.
Stephen Rickard, for the 2nd straight week, will handle all of the long snaps for Woodland Hills at 6'5" and very flexible. He did a great job a week ago, and that may be his position for the rest of the year. A nice punt by Dante Broadus will carry down to the Mount Lebanon 21-yard line, where it was bobbled initially by Rolfson, and then he will cover it up at that 21, where it's 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, great job of Wolfson of covering up that ball after he bobbled it, because there were 3, maybe 4 Wolverines looking to snatch that ball away from him if it came loose.
So Woodland Hills gives the ball back to Mount Lebanon for the first time today without scoring. Worst starting field position of the day, incidentally, for the Blue Devils. Wolverines had the ball for just 1 minute on that last drive. 1 back set, trips to the left. Looks like Ward in at quarterback again. Now it will be Stout. Stout looks to his right, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Apke.
And on that last play, that's one of the other plays that Troy Apke and Tyler Roth last year were very successful with, just a little bit of a jump ball. Apke, being 6 foot 2 inches tall, going against a smaller wide receiver or smaller defensive back for Woodland Hills, they're going to try to use that to their advantage.
So 2nd down and 10 for Mount Lebanon. Again, the ball at their own 21. Blue Devils trail our Wolverines 21-0. Woodland Hills on the far sideline in their road whites. Woodland Hills, or rather Mount Lebanon near sideline in their home blue jerseys. Motion man from right to left. And the handoff will go to that motion man in Apke. Apke turns the quarter around the 21-yard line, but he'll be cut down right around the line of scrimmage. A nice open field tackle by Trayvon Mathis. And a couple of D1 prospects meet up at the 22 for a pickup of 1 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, you're gonna see either Chris David or Trayvon Mathis on Troy Apke pretty much all day, because those are Woodland Hills' best 2 cover cornerbacks.
And that time it was Mathis on the opposite end who came up to make the open field stop. They're down and 9, clock rolling down towards 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Adam Gusky, Fred Guy at Mount Lebanon Stadium. Thank you for joining us all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. Pistol formation, now a man motions to the right of Ward. Ward will keep it, trying to bounce it to the far side. Woodland Hills sniffs it out as Devin Nixon tracks down the Wildcat QB from behind. It'll be a pickup of just about 2, and it's 4th down and 7.
A good job of Woodland Hills of staying with the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils on that fake, because I was even faked out for a little bit because I was watching the running back, and then I saw the quarterback take off, and it was a good open field tackle by the Woodland Hills defense on that last play.
Ward did a nice job pulling the ball out of the belly of the tailback who was next to him. And Apke will come on to punt it away. He's done a good job of keeping it away from Harry Randall thus far. Apke stands at his own 14. Randall stands at his own 40 on this 4th down and 6 play. Apke slow to get it away, but will boot it away to the far sideline, and it'll carry out of bounds. And not a great punt at all by Apke this time. I think he kicked it off the side of his foot, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills at the 38-yard line. A net gain on that punt of 13 yards.
Yeah, that's a terrible punt by Apke. You can, being down 21-0 in the second quarter, you can ill afford to give this Woodland Hills offense any momentum, and especially a short field. It's be interesting to see what the Mount Lebanon defense can hold, or at least stop, do anything they can to get this offense off the field.
7:32 to go in the first half. Woodland Hills will have the ball again at the Blue Devil 38. Pistol formation. Sanders behind Randall with 2 receivers to the right. Handoff goes to Sanders, bouncing it to the near side. Slides through a pair of blue jerseys inside of the 40, and he'll drive his way forward close to the line of scrimmage, maybe picking up about a yard. And it'll depend on the spot. It'll be no gain on the play, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, on that last play, we saw Miles Sanders' toughness on that last play, because he did a great job. Number 73 from Mount Lebanon, Alex Buxer, was looking to strip the ball away from him. Miles Sanders was not giving that up one bit, tugged it away from him, and, unfortunately there was no gain on that last play.
7 carries, 89 yards today for Miles Sanders to go along with a pair of touchdowns. 2 receivers left. Handoff to Sanders from Randall. Sanders straight up the gut this time. Inside of the 35, close to the 30-yard line. Looks like they'll mark him down right around the 31. At the bottom of the pile for Mount Lebanon is Reed Nelson. And they'll actually back it up to the 32, so it's a gain of 6 on the play for Miles Sanders. Sanders now with 95 yards rushing and a pair of touchdowns, and there's still 6:20 to go in the second quarter. Miles Sanders up near 600 yards in just 5 games thus far this season. And this is week 5, so we've even only played 4.5 games, quite frankly. Harry Randall pass complete to Dante Broadus. Broadus 1st down yardage and more as he's forced out of bounds along the far sideline inside of the 25 to the 22-yard line, and it's 1st and 10 for the Wolverines.
Adam, the first couple of weeks of the season, the offense sputtered. I mean, sputtered might be a lack of word, because they were just not with it. These last 3 games, Woodland Hills has done a great job. Like, for me, it's exciting to see what play they're going to come out with next, because you never know what's going to happen right now.
Well, they're starting to find their weapons, and Joel Shaw was a hidden gem for the first 2 weeks of the season. Emerged against Bethel Park and really shined a week ago. He's coming in, making an impact today. And, of course, the passing game has picked up with Harry Randall finding Dante Broadus like he did on that last play. Pistol formation with Sanders behind Randall. Sanders takes the handoff, drives his way forward inside of the 20, down towards the 15. They'll mark him down at the 16. And it is a pickup on that play of 7 yards, I do believe.
And Woodland Hills is just doing another good job of mixing in the pass and the run, not staying one-sided like they were at the beginning of the season. Like you said, Harry Randall has become a weapon, using his arm, finding Shaw, finding Dante Broadus. I'd like to see Trayvon Mathis get back into the passing game, because he's obviously a very good deep threat.
And, of course, Chris David can catch the football as well, and he's seen a lot of action at receiver the past 2 weeks. Pistol formation on 2nd down and 4, a pickup of 6 for Miles Sanders. He has 101 yards on the ground now. Randall off of play action, rolling to his right, steps up into the pocket, looks to the near corner, wide open is Dante Broadus. He'll bobble it, then catch it for the Woodland Hills touchdown. How about Dante Broadus?
Right on cue with another touchdown. And he did a great job of selling the out route. Actually, he ran about 10 yards up the field, faked like he was going to hit the post, came back to the outside in the flag route. Great pass by Harry Randall. A little bobble at the end, but he was able to maintain concentration and bring it down in the end zone.
A perfectly executed post corner by Dante Broadus makes it 27-0. PAT upcoming. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is up, and that kick is good. And with 5:02 to play in the second quarter, it's Woodland Hills 28 and Mount Lebanon 0. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Mount Lebanon Stadium, where Woodland Hills leads Mount Lebanon 28-0. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. The most recent score, a very nice 16-yard touchdown pass as Harry Randall went off of play action, rolled to his right, stepped up into the pocket, and found Dante Broadus, who ran the post corner to perfection. And they connect for the 16-yard TD. The PAT up and in by Cassidy makes it 28-zip. And a lot of focus in Western Pennsylvania is on the Pittsburgh Pirates, who lead the Cincinnati Reds 2-0 in the bottom of the third. As coming to the near side on the kick return is Apke, and Apke will take it to the end zone for a Mount Lebanon touchdown. A long kickoff return for Apke, and Mount Lebanon is on the board. And Fred, we talked about it. The kick coverage is an issue for the Wolverines.
Yeah, it has been all season. They've just been given the opposing teams have just found a way to get through the kick coverage of Woodland Hills. And, you know, you put the ball in Troy Apke's hands, anything could happen, and it just did.
87-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Apke. That was the first time Cassidy put the kick in the air, and it bites the Wolverines as their lead goes from 28 points to 22 points. And the PAT by Passeretta will make it an even closer football game. The kick is up, and that kick carries to the right but is good. And it's Costantino on the PAT for Mount Lebanon. It's 28-7 with the Blue Devils trailing our Wolverines with 4:49 to go in the second quarter. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Second down and a long 5 for the Wolverines. Woodland Hills to the line of scrimmage after a timeout. Handoff. No, it'll be Randall keeping it himself. He'll drive his way into Blue Devil territory just inside of the 50 before being shoved back by a wave of blue jerseys. And it'll be third down and 1 for the Wolverines.
And I was looking at the referee to the near side for us, Adam, and it looked like he initially gave Harry Randall, as he was coming into the field, the first down, but started walking back as he got closer to the actual play.
And that's something we've talked about over the past couple of seasons, is initial spots and then final spots really are very, very different, especially at the high school level. And it's a little mind-boggling, to say the least. Third carry of the game for Harry Randall, who now has 38 yards on those 3 carries. Motion man from left to right is Shaw. Handoff goes to Sanders, bouncing to the near side. First down yardage and more inside of the 40, where he will step out of bounds. They'll actually say he stepped out at around the 42-yard line. But that's certainly enough for the first down. A pickup of 8 for Miles Sanders. And with 3:11 to go in the second quarter, Woodland Hills driving into Mount Lebanon territory again.
Good job of Joel Shaw coming across the formation on the motion. And what he did was he just turned his defender inside into the field, giving Miles Sanders an outside lane to get himself the first down.
And we do see Dan Gibson at the right tackle spot now for Woodland Hills. He did not start the game. It was Jake Cassidy who started at right tackle, but Gibson is in there now. Shotgun formation, sidecars to either side. Handoff will go on the counter to Sanders. He'll power his way inside of the 40 to the 39-yard line. A pickup of 3, and it's second down and 7.
Yeah, Miles Sanders just being patient again on that last play of just waiting for his pulling tackle to get across the formation, and got himself up the field.
And the pulling lineman coming from left to right was Amon Baldwin Youngblood, the 6'3", 330-pound left tackle. He doesn't look 330 from our vantage point. He must be a heck of a physical specimen.
And he doesn't move like he's 330 pounds either.
That's for sure. A play action off of a screen. Looking to the left goes Harry Randall, and it is complete. No, it's incomplete as Chris David ran underneath but couldn't hang on to it. A flag comes in late. And I see Harry Randall on his backside, and that may be a late hit on the quarterback here. And if it's roughing the quarterback, it'll be a Woodland Hills first down. Let's check in with our referee. Personal foul, roughing the quarterback against Mount Lebanon. And the Blue Devils cost themselves 15 yards, and instead of 3rd down and 6 from the 39, it will be 1st and 10 at the 24.
I think that foul was committed by number 66, Hunter Kazan. As soon as the flag came down, he came off to the sideline to get a earful from the coach.
And he took about 3 steps before he hit Harry Randall. That's way, way late. Even in our day, Fred, that would have been late for hitting the quarterback, 3 full steps. So again, it's 1st and 10 for Woodland Hills. The ball inside of the Blue Devil 24-yard line. Wolverines threatening again with his 21-point lead and 2:23 to go in the second quarter. Shotgun formation, Shaw next to Randall. Handoff to Shaw. Shaw over left guard, powering his way inside of the 15, and he'll be brought down at the 14-yard line. And that'll be enough for a Woodland Hills first down. 10-yard pickup for Joel Shaw, his 3rd carry of the game. He has 15 yards on those 3 carries. Go ahead, Fred.
Like you said, he just keeps running downhill. He does a great job of just getting through the hole, getting to the second wave, and the linebackers in the secondary. Once you see that coming towards you, it's scary, to say the least.
And how about this? He and Miles Sanders are going to be playing together for the next 2 seasons, in addition to the rest of this year. Trips to the left of Randall, one to the near side right. Sidecar is Shaw. He'll take the handoff again. Joel Shaw slides past tacklers, now driving his way forward inside of the 10 to the 8-yard line. A pickup on that play of about 6 yards, and it's 2nd down and 4.
And that's really how you demoralize a team. Especially you're up by 21 and you got a big bruising back that just keeps gaining yards after yards after yards. And there's nothing you could do because he's not fumble prone and he keeps the ball wrapped up tight and he just keeps plowing ahead.
Second down and about 4 for Woodland Hills. The ball just inside of the Blue Devil 9-yard line. Shotgun with sidecars to either side of Randall. Twins to the left, one to the near side right. Randall off of play action. Pauses, throws, wide open across the middle. Art Tompkins for the Woodland Hills touchdown. The 2nd passing touchdown of the day for Harry Randall.
And that's great recognition of Harry Randall. As he was rolling out, he just stopped and saw Art Tompkins standing by himself in the back of the end zone and threw a dart for the touchdown.
Folks on the television side, we apologize for our technical difficulties right now. Down by Harry Randall finding Art Tompkins for the TD. 1:04 to go here in the second quarter. And the PAT by Cassidy is up and in. And with 1:04 to play in the second quarter, it is Woodland Hills 35 and Mount Lebanon 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. 35-7, Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. The last score, a 9-yard touchdown pass as Harry Randall off of play action rolled to his right, had all day to throw the football and found Art Tompkins in the back of the end zone for Randall's 2nd passing touchdown, but Tompkins' 1st of the season.
Yeah, it's a good job to see Woodland Hills just being balanced on the offensive side, using the pass, using the run, and being productive on both with the pass and the run.
2nd consecutive passing touchdown, incidentally, and Cassidy this time not going to go to the air as a bouncing kick will be picked up by Apke around the 18-yard line, and again he'll bring it to the right, cut back to the left, and again a big return for the Wolverine opponent as Apke carries that ball across the 40 to the 43-yard line. Fred, we talked about it before the football game. We talked about it when Apke had the 87-yard return for a touchdown. The biggest problem Woodland Hills has right now is their punt or their kickoff coverage team.
Yeah, which in my recollection of all of Woodland Hills football, I can't remember it being that much of a problem as it has been this season.
Again, it's 35-7, Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. as it is the QB. Stout dropping back to pass, and he will find his receiver in Rolfson, and Rolfson is brought down deep in the backfield by James Eggleston, the 285-pound defensive tackle who plays and looks like a man amongst boys, making that big loss on the play back to the 37-yard line, a loss of 6.
It was great recognition of Eggleston of seeing the screenplay develop. He just stayed home and put a perfect tackle on Rolfson.
First completion of the game, incidentally, for Stout, and it's a completion of -6 yards. Stout drops back, looks to his right. The pass is intended for Shane Lefevre, and Lefevre with at least his second drop of the evening, maybe his third.
Yeah, again, they're running that their double post on the right-hand side, and it's going past Apke and going right to Lefevre. Lefevre's just having a hard time of concentrating and keeping his hands on the ball.
So 3rd down and 16 after that incomplete pass by Stout. 1 of 6 for -6 yards is Stout in the air. He'll step under center. Twins to either side. One back set behind him in Joey Stabil. Stabil will take the draw handoff. He's met in the backfield, eludes that first tackler, and then Akira McLean will ultimately make the tackle up around the 39-yard line, and that'll be the final play of the second quarter. A pickup of about 3 yards on that play, but it doesn't mean too much as both teams go into the locker room. Woodland Hills with this huge 28-point lead. And Fred, Woodland Hills outside of their kick coverage, again, virtually flawless.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, especially on defense against Troy Apke. He has only one catch so far today, which is a night and day performance as to what he did last year. But Woodland Hills is doing a good job of keeping him under wraps.
You're right. It is Apke with 1 catch for 0 yards. 2 passes completed today in that first half for Mount Lebanon for a total of -6 yards. On the other hand, the Woodland Hills offense really rolling. Of course, Miles Sanders carrying the load with 117 yards, but we've seen Harry Randall not only run the ball, but he's throwing the ball well with 2 passing touchdowns.
Yeah, it's good to see the passing game getting rolling with as the season progresses, because they're going to need that, because teams are going to start to key on Miles Sanders. He's going to have his days where he's not as doing as well as he normally does, but that passing game is going to have to pick it up if he ever falls short.
And again, the emergence of Joel Shaw over the past 3 weeks continues to impress.
Yeah, he's just a big bruising back. He finds lanes and gets himself up there, and then he's knocking people down, around, through, and he's just doing a great job right now.
Folks, on the television side, stay tuned. We will be back with the second half on the Woodland Hills Football Network. On the radio side, stay tuned. It will be the Woodland Hills Football Network halftime show. Again, your halftime score, Woodland Hills 35 and Mount Lebanon 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Time score 35-7, Mount Lebanon leading Woodland Hills. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Woodland Hills impressive in the first half, to say the least, as they are really leading in every category, especially total offensive yards. Woodland Hills 226 yards of offense in the first half. Mount Lebanon just 25 yards offensively through the first 24 minutes of action. Again, your halftime score was 35-7 as we're set to begin the second half. It'll be the Blue Devils kicking off. Rob Costantino to boot it away, and he will kick it deep, and it will carry down to the 5-yard line where it'll be returned by Art Tompkins. Tompkins with a lead blocker and Harry Randall. Tompkins bounces to the far side across the 30, the 35, the 40, cutting it back inside of the 45, the 50, the 45, the 40, the 35, the 30, 25, 15, 10, 5. End zone touchdown. Art Tompkins takes it 95 yards for the Woodland Hills TD.
And Art Tompkins did a great job of just being patient. He followed Harry Randall into the mess, and then once he broke free, he turned on the jets and even started to cut back into the middle of the field around the 45-yard line and just continued running, picking up some good blocks down the field. Very impressive by Art Tompkins on that kick return.
And Cassidy will come on to trying to make it a 35-point game, and if he does so, we will move into the modified time-keeping system, as Woodland Hills will have a 35-point lead. Randall's the holder, and the hold is down, and the kick is up, and that kick is good. And with 11:44 to play in the third quarter, it's Woodland Hills 42 and Mount Lebanon 7. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network. I'm sorry? No. I mean, they all ran in the first half, so I know what you meant by now. A 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by Art Tompkins. Had a lead blocker in Harry Randall, and then got it back at the 50, and it was all Tompkins after that. And Tompkins gives Woodland Hills a 35-point lead, 42-7 with 11:44 to go in the third quarter. Adam Gusky, Fred Guy on the call for you here on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Cassidy kicking it away. A low lining kick takes a bounce at the 20-yard line. It'll carry out of bounds along the far boundary at the 10-yard line, and Woodland Hills will give Mount Lebanon the ball at the 35, but quite frankly, Fred, I'd much rather give them the ball at the 35 instead of letting Mount Lebanon try to return the kick for a TD.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed about Troy Apke on that kickoff return was he is deceptively fast. I mean, he's a very tall kid. He's very well put together, but he got some jets. I mean, he basically took that ball, found a couple blockers, but once he got rid of his blockers and once he had clear field, he outran everybody. So the most impressive part of that was just his speed.
Clock starts to run as the ball is placed. We are in the modified timekeeping system, otherwise known as the Mercy Rule. Woodland Hills on top by 35 points. Trips to the right as Stout steps under center. Stout with a hard count. Straight drop back. Looks to his left, looks back to his right. Thinks about running. Now he'll retreat. Steps to the near side. He will run the football. Picks up a nice block as he'll step out of bounds along the near boundary at the 41-yard line. A pickup of 6 on that play.
Yeah, on that last play, Stout had nowhere to go. Basically, he was looking for Troy Apke the entire way. Troy Apke was double-teamed by the Woodland Hills linebacker and cornerback. Just basically took off. I thought he was going to try to chuck it, but none of his receivers got themselves downfield to give him that opportunity.
Stout steps under center with an eye backfield behind him. One receiver to the near side right. Second down and 4 as he will hand off. The ball carrier, Rolfson. Rolfson drives his way forward across the 45 to the 47-yard line. A pickup of 6 on the play, and it's 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I think Rolfson and the Mount Lebanon offense caught Woodland Hills in a little bit of an aggressive attitude towards that last play because both linebackers came straight up the field, but once Rolfson found and picked his way through, he was able to pick up a first down.
Stout steps under center, twins to either side. One back set behind Stout, hard count. Straight drop back, looks to his right, throws to his right. The pass intended for Nick Tomasi is incomplete, and that's another drop pass. And we've seen a half a dozen or so today by Mount Lebanon.
Yeah, the quarterbacks for Mount Lebanon are doing a good job of getting the balls out there, but the receivers, with the exception of Apke, have had a tough time trying to, hold on to the ball.
Apke has 1 catch today for 0 yards. We also saw Rolfson with 1 reception on the screen for -6 yards. Those are the only 2 completed passes in the day thus far for Mount Lebanon. High backfield. Handoff will go to Rolfson. Over right tackle into open field, brought down by Dejon Brown amongst others. Decent pickup though as Rolfson carries the ball inside of Woodland Hills territory to the 46-yard line. A pickup of about 7, and it's 3rd down and 3.
As well as Mount Lebanon's come out in this first drive of the third quarter with running the ball. They're going to have to do something in terms of getting a pass down the field to Apke if they're going to want to try to get back into this.
Handoff, Rolfson bouncing it to the near side. If he turns the corner, he has the first down, and he just turns the corner in enough time to be brought down by Mike Nash just at the first down marker And the official will check the spot. And it's a Mount Lebanon first down. The ball spotted at the 43-yard line. Rolfson with a pickup there of 3 yards. Rolfson now with 36 yards on the ground.
Mount Lebanon's come out with a little bit of life, or trying to get a little bit of life on this first drive in the third quarter. They're just doing a good job of just pounding the ball, running it against this Woodland Hills front seven.
Stout steps under center with a one-back set. Straight drop back. He'll look to his right. Feels pressure. He'll be hit. He'll be wrapped, and he'll be sacked by Dejon Brown. Cleaning it up, Devin Nixon, but Brown made the first hit and credit him with the sack and a loss of 7 on the play.
I give a lot of credit to that sack to Chris David, who was stride for stride with Troy Apke. I mean, obviously, Troy Apke is their #1 receiver. They're going to keep going to him as much as possible, but, Woodland Hills is bringing a lot of pressure on these quarterbacks, and it's not giving them any time to get rid of the ball.
So loss of 8 on that play. And Stout now with -6 yards rushing. Off of play action, Stout on the straight drop back. He'll throw it down the center of the field, and it will be batted around and caught by Apke. Chris David thought he had swatted it to the turf, but somehow Apke came down with it. And that's a lot of celebration with a 35-point deficit, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I do. But the most impressive part was Apke was able to come down, because that was a wounded duck throw by Stout. Great concentration by Apke. You had surrounded by 2 Woodland Hills defenders as well. Like you said, a little bit excess on the celebration, but you got to start celebrating somewhere if you're going to have to feel good about yourself.
26-yard reception on that play. 36-yard reception on that play. And I didn't see who the ball carrier was there, but it'll be a pickup of 2. It's Rolfson who was the ball carrier.
A short gain by number 21, Mike Nash. It is 2nd and 9 for the Blue Devils.
High backfield behind Stout. One receiver to the near side right. Stout off of play action, feels pressure. He'll be hit, bounce off of one Wolverine, stays on his feet, and he will be spun down as 3 Wolverines got to him. The first one was Broadus and Dejon Brown, and Broadus end up getting the sack for the Wolverines. A big loss back to the 30-yard line. A loss on that play of about 12 yards.
And Woodland Hills is being absolutely blatant about the double coverage on Troy Apke. At that time, Art Tompkins and Chris David had him under wraps on the last play, but unfortunately for Woodland Hills, they're bringing a lot of pressure. I mean, they're sending linebackers, they're sending outside linebackers, they're doing everything that they need to do to get Stout out of his rhythm and keep the ball out of Apke's hands.
Stout now with -18 yards on the ground as he'll roll to his right, look back to the left on a throwback screen to a tackle eligible. That's Matt Hoffman on the reception, and Hoffman is brought down inside of the 25 at around the 23-yard line.
Stout's pass is complete to number 71.
And a pickup on that play of 7 for Hoffman, the tackle eligible.
It's an interesting play. Anytime you get the big guys involved in the passing game.
What are you saying?
Nothing at all.
Exactly. So it's 4th down and long, 4th and 15 for the Blue Devils, as they just picked up 7 on that 3rd and very long. And on to attempt a long field goal, Rob Costantino. This will be a 40-yarder from the left hash for the left-footed kicker. The holder is Eddie Jenkins. And that kick is up. And it's got the length. Is it straight enough? It is. And with 4:21 to play in the 3rd quarter, it is Woodland Hills 42, Mount Lebanon 10. You're tuned in to the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. Adam Gusky and Fred Guy on the call for you all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. It's 42-10. Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. The Blue Devils get on the board for the first time in the second half on a 40-yard field goal by Rob Costantino. And Costantino will Bang this one to the far sideline on a low squib kick that'll roll out of bounds inside of the 20, and Woodland Hills will take the ball. 1st and 10 at their own 35, and let's see how many Wolverine starters come out onto the field for this first offensive drive.
Adam, I did notice that number 14, Jeremiah Jones, was not dressed for pregame warm-up, so going to be interesting to see who they put at quarterback. And I'm looking at the roster. You got Deron Cooper, a 6-foot sophomore. Wante Warren Miles, 6'2", 162 quarterback. So it'd be interesting to see who they put back there.
Looks like Harry Randall, at least at this point, with a pistol formation. 3 receivers to the left. Handoff. Sanders bouncing it to the near side. Brought down at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Brings up 2nd down and 10.
And that's not too often that we've said that about Miles Sanders today, but Mount Lebanon's defense just did a good job of reading how that play was going to develop, and just made a nice tackle securing Miles Sanders and not letting him get anywhere or any extra yardage.
Unofficially 11 carries, 117 for Miles Sanders. As again, the Wolverines come out of the huddle in the pistol formation. Receivers to either side and a slot to the right of the formation. Hard count by Randall. Randall rolls to his right. Steps up into the pocket. Thinks about running. Now retreats as he runs to that far sideline. Now he'll tuck and run. Run out of bounds along that far sideline as he picks up a couple of yards. And it will be 3rd down and 7 for the Wolverines, as the clock will continue to run even though Randall steps out of bounds, as we stay in the modified timekeeping system. A 35-point lead in the second half necessitates that regardless if Mount Lebanon cuts into that or not.
Yeah, it looked like Harry Randall was looking for Dante Broadus on that post out route. Good job by Mount Lebanon's cornerback to stay with Broadus on that play, and I think the cornerback is Rolston. Good job of just keeping him in his field of vision. Harry Randall didn't have anything, so he just took it and ran.
Shotgun formation, sidecar to the left of Randall, trips to the left of Randall as well. Randall, design keeper to the near side, steps through a hole. 45, 50, 45 on the cutback. And he will be brought down along the near sideline at the Mount Lebanon 42-yard line. Nice pickup there for Harry Randall into Mount Lebanon territory from his home 38 to the 42-yard line. And that's a pickup of 20 for Harry Randall. Randall now with 61 yards on the ground to go, along with 48 yards passing.
Yeah, there was no design, no fake, no nothing. He just took it and ran. And the one thing I liked about Harry Randall on that last play is he was patient. He was letting his blockers do what they need to do so he can get some extra yards.
Sidecars to either side of Randall with 2 receivers to the right and 1 to the near side left. Randall hands off. Sanders bouncing it to the outside. Eludes a man at the 40 and is brought down at the 35-yard line. They're going to actually say he's brought down at the 36 for a pickup of 6 yards, and it's 2nd down and 4. Miles Sanders now with 123 yards rushing.
The one thing you get from Joel Shaw in the backfield is you get a running head start when he's blocking. And when that happens, people are going to get hurt. But he's doing a great job of just, getting his nose in there, inviting the contact, and springing Miles Sanders for, extra yardage off of his blocks.
He explodes into blocks, does Shaw. He had 5 pancakes a week ago, according to what Coach Novak told me off the air. Handoff. Sanders dancing his way forward inside of the 30, 1st down yardage and more for Miles Sanders as he carries it from his 36 to the 27 for a pickup of 9.
Yeah, Sanders got a little anxious on that last play because Baldwin Youngblood was pulling, and he had nobody in front of him. He was looking for somebody to hit. Miles Sanders just ran right past him, but if he'd have just stayed behind Baldwin Youngblood just a little longer, he'd have definitely gotten some more yardage out of that last run.
Looking forward for Woodland Hills. They take on Baldwin at the Wolverina a week from tonight, and as our coverage will always be on the Woodland Hills Football Network, 20 minutes before kickoff at 7:10 p.m. And that run by Miles Sanders, covering 9 yards, is the final play of the 3rd quarter. We head to the 4th frame with the score: Woodland Hills 42 and Mount Lebanon 10. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network. And we welcome you back to Mount Lebanon Blue Devils Stadium. Adam Gusky, Fred Guy on the call for you. 42-10 is the score. Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. Wolverines have the football inside of Blue Devil territory. First down and 10 at the 27-yard line. And quite frankly, barring a very major miracle here at Mount Lebanon Blue Devil Stadium, Woodland Hills will advance to 3-2 on the season, and more importantly, 3-1 in Southeastern Conference action.
Yeah, and that definitely puts them in the driver's seat for that second place finish in first round home playoff game.
And the clock will wind to begin the fourth quarter. Shotgun with sidecars to either side. Motion man from right to left is Tompkins. Handoff goes to Shaw. No, it'll be Tompkins on the jet sweep end around. And Tompkins carries the ball inside of the 25. He'll be brought down at the 22. A pickup of 5 for our Tompkins. Second carry of the game for Tompkins. He has 2 carries for 7 yards, but you combine that with a pair of catches for 22 yards and a touchdown, and a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, and it's a great evening for Art Tompkins, who's number 2 on the depth chart at tailback, but has sure found himself a home at the slot.
Yeah, he's done a great job today of just getting himself involved in the offense. I'm sure Coach Novak put in a couple plays designed just for him to get him some touches, and obviously he's done a great job with 2 touchdowns today.
Handoff will go to the counter from Miles Sanders, and he will power his way inside of the 20 to the 19-yard line. And the 20 pounds that Miles Sanders put on in combination with the 2 inches in the offseason is really, really paying off. We saw how strong he was in the WPIAL finals, the last game of the season for the Wolverines last year, but he's even stronger now.
Yeah, and he's obviously showing no ill effects from the injury that he sustained during the Whitfield Championship game. But, 2 inches and 20 pounds, you hit the weight room, it's going to pay off during the season.
Third down and a long one for the Wolverines after that pickup of 3 for Miles Sanders. Handoff, Shaw running through Blue Devils. He has enough for the first down before he's driven back. And unless they respot the ball in a silly area, which you never know, it likely will be a first down for the Wolverines. And they did move the ball back, Fred. So the ball is at the 22-yard line. Or 23-yard line. It certainly looked like Shaw had made it down towards the 22. So instead of 1st and 10, it's 4th and 1.
Yeah, I hate to laugh, but I mean, it's become almost ridiculous how these referees spot the ball. Not exactly sure if they go to school or training or whatever the case may be, but it's amazing.
Shotgun formation. Sidecars to either side. It's Randall on the keeper, straight up the middle, into the end zone for a Woodland Hills touchdown. An 18-yard TD for Harry Randall. A little bit of icing on the cake, and Woodland Hills is on top 48-10 with 9:24 to play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, 4th and 1. And we've seen this a couple times this year where a 4th and short situation has turned into a touchdown for Woodland Hills. Once against Bethel Park and another one again tonight.
Third touchdown of the game for Harry Randall. He's thrown for 2 and now rushes for 1. And Cassidy's on to attempt the PAT. Good snap, good hold, kick up, and that kick is good. And with 9:24 to play in the fourth quarter, it is Woodland Hills 49 and Mount Lebanon 10. You're tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on the Woodland Hills Football Network. (49-10), Woodland Hills on top of Mount Lebanon. An 18-yard touchdown run on 4th and 1 by Harry Randall. He had a convoy in front of him in Miles Sanders and Joel Shaw, and he hit the cutback between left guard and left tackle, and into the end zone he went for his first rushing touchdown of the game. You combine that with a pair of passing touchdowns, and Harry Randall is responsible for 18 points tonight.
I have to correct myself, Adam, because against Bethel Park, he actually fumbled the ball into the end zone as he was walking in, and one of the linemen picked it up for the Wolverine touchdown.
It was Daniel Gibson with that 1-yard fumble recovery for a TD. And here comes Apke on the kick return. He broke free for a moment, but then was brought down along the near hash on the tackle. Jordan Lee for the Wolverines. And it will be first down and 10 for the Blue Devils at their own 26-yard line.
And I don't think Woodland Hills is going with any substitutes right now on defense. I see Osbrooks, I see Broadus, and pretty much everybody on the defensive line is still in. So Wolverines are going to get some more work in on defense against this Mount Lebanon offense. Excuse me.
Jordan Lee is one of the reserves out there at linebackers in the game right now. And it's Rolfson, I believe, the ball carrier. And he is brought down by a Wolverine defensive lineman. And Laquan Bowden on the tackle for the Wolverines. Bowden, one of the reserve defensive linemen, who's seeing action right now. Second down and 9 for Mount Lebanon. Rolfson with 38 yards on the ground today. Motion man from left to right. And Stout looks to the near side left. The pass is complete to Apke, and he will carry the ball across the 30 to the 33-yard line. Pickup of 6 on the play. And Apke now with 39 yards on 3 catches. Dante Broadus on the tackle for Woodland Hills.
And that was good, actually, recognition of the cornerback, Mike Nash, to see that he saw that Apke was coming back towards the quarterback for, a quick pitch, and basically had a shoestring tackle that slowed Apke up for Broadus to make the tackle.
And running the football, Brian Ward to the near side, and Ward is brought down. It appeared to be a broken play, and a pair of Wolverines brought him down along the near sideline, including Jordan Lee. And I think also on the tackle was Mike Nash, and the clock will continue to run down towards 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Ward brought down a yard deep in the backfield.
I know there hasn't been too many penalties in this game, Adam, which is a good thing, but on that last play, I saw one of the offensive linemen from Mount Lebanon grab a complete handful of jersey of a Wolverine defender, and unfortunately there was no flag.
Apke on to punt, back deep to return for Woodland Hills is Chris David. David, who has a pick 6 today, will return this punt for the white and turquoise. Apke stands at his own 21, David at his own 33. Apke gets it away. End over end kick will take a Blue Devil bounce. David thought about scooping it up around the 25, but instead Mount Lebanon will let it roll down inside of the Woodland Hills 20 to the 17-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10 for the Wolverines. And here comes some of the substitutions on offense for Woodland Hills, a lot of them in fact. And time to dig deep into our roster for the second consecutive week. Again, Woodland Hills will start at their own 17-yard line. The clock winds with 6:17 to go. In the fourth quarter, Woodland Hills on top 49-10. QB for Woodland Hills is the third QB on the depth chart. They're on Cooper. Cooper number 15 in the pistol. Nigel Henderson behind him. Henderson had a touchdown a week ago. Henderson slides through a hole and carries it across the 20 to the 22-yard line. And Fred, think about the depth Woodland Hills has, where Art Tompkins could be a starting running back on most teams in the WPIAL. He's been moved to slot. And Nigel Henderson could be a starter on a lot of teams, and he's third on the depth chart.
And it's just really amazing. It really goes to show like the athleticism that Woodland Hills has from number 1 to number 99. They do a good job. The coaches do a great job of getting all of these kids game ready, and they just do a wonderful job coaching wise of preparing any team, any player for battle.
Cooper in the shotgun, hands off. Henderson on the cutback, bouncing it across the 25 to the 30-yard line and brought down at the 32-yard line. And Henderson just bursts through holes. We saw that a week ago, and he did it there as well. And a pickup of 10 yards on that play, and it's a Woodland Hills first down.
Yeah, Henderson does a great job of getting the defenders to over pursue him, because he's, like you said, he's third on the depth chart. You don't think much of him, but once he gets through that line, he can explode and gain great yardage at any time.
So 2 carries for 15 yards for Nigel Henderson. Pistol formation. Henderson behind Cooper, 2 receivers to the left and a slot to the left as well. Counter coming to the near side. Cooper's going to keep it himself on the cutback across the 35, brought down at the 37-yard line. And a pickup of 5 brings up 2nd down and 5.
Yeah, that looked like more of a design run for Cooper than a fake or a read. But that's just a good job of Cooper of getting his nose into the heart of the Mount Lebanon defense on that last play.
Cooper played last week for Woodland Hills but did not make the stat sheet as he was just handing off to a host of Woodland Hills reserve backs. Cooper again in the pistol. Henderson behind him. Receivers to either side and a slot to the right. Handoff. Henderson met in the backfield and brought down for a loss of about 1 on the play from the 43, or rather from the 37 to the 36. Three carries, 14 yards for Nigel Henderson. Henderson a week ago had 4 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown. Clock winding down to 3:15 to play in regulation. Woodland Hills on top 49-10, leading the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. Again, next up for Woodland Hills, a home game against Baldwin next Friday, 7:30 kickoff. Cooper off of a broken play. Looked to hand off initially to Henderson, but then raced his way forward and got back to the line of scrimmage. He was met 2 yards deep, but drove through a pair of Blue Devils, including Hunter Kazin. And no gain on the play brings up 4th down and about 6.
And the 2 Blue Devils that you mentioned were linemen. They weren't, linebackers or secondary. These are some of the big guys that were getting exposed by Cooper.
So a business trip to the South Hills for Woodland Hills. And has given the Wolverines their 3rd victory on the season. As Broadus boots this one away, a knuckling punt that will take a very nice Woodland Hills bounce inside of the 30 to the 25. And it still rolls. And ultimately to the 21-yard line, where it'll be scooped up by Devin Nixon. And 1st and 10 for Mount Lebanon at their own 21. And that is punt number 2 today for Woodland Hills. Just their 2nd punt of the evening.
That just goes to show what a great effort the Woodland Hills first team offense put in today. Very workmanlike. They brought their hard hats and their shovels and their lunch pails and rolled up their sleeves and went to work today. Sorry, Adam, I wasn't going to forget lunch.
Oh,
Trust me.
You can't. Lunch pails. That's what I like to hear. Twins to either side. New QB in for Mount Lebanon is Eddie Jenkins. One back set behind Jenkins on a straight drop back, looks to his right, throws to his right, and that pass is complete. On the reception for Mount Lebanon is Patrick Kimball, and he's brought down by a trio of Wolverines after a pickup of about 3 yards to the 24.
Hey, once Woodland Hills gets through this game, they have to kind of forget about what happened tonight, get everything out of their head. And Baldwin's a different story. Baldwin's definitely a different story from the team that they had last year. They're a little bit more complete. They had a great running back last year, but now they have a quarterback that has done very well for the Highlanders this year.
Stabil, big run for Mount Lebanon, his 2nd carry of the game, and he'll take it from the 24 out to the 42-yard line. Pickup of 18 yards on that play for Stabil. And Stabil now 2 carries for 21 yards. And he just burst through a hole, did Stabil. And was ultimately brought down by Deron Cooper, who was playing quarterback just a few seconds ago for the Wolverines. 35 seconds to go. Woodland Hills on top by 39 points, and the pass is complete. Jenkins finding, again, number 17, Patrick Kimball. And Mount Lebanon not using a timeout here. They run it out for maybe one last play with about 15 seconds to go. And the draw handoff will go to Stabil, and Stabil is brought down at the line of scrimmage, and Stabil had the final carry of the first half and also has the final carry of the second half. Woodland Hills travels to the South Hills of Pittsburgh and gets the big victory over the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils, 49-10. The Wolverines are now 3-2 on the year, and more importantly, 3-1 in the Southeastern Conference.
Great job by the Woodland Hills offense of just being steady and being consistent. Also, the defense played very well. I mean, essentially, the first team defense allowed only a field goal. The touchdown that they did score came off of a kick return, which we know has kickoff team has struggled in coverage. It's just a good job all around for the Wolverines today.
Again, a virtually flawless performance by Woodland Hills, and again they put nearly 50 points on the board. They had 51 a week ago, 49 today. That's an average over the past 2 games of 50 points a game. That's an offensive explosion. You combine that with a special teams touchdown a week ago and back-to-back weeks with a defensive touchdown, and Woodland Hills is playing by far their best ball of the season over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they just need to keep this going. The season's not over. Them coming in as the number 1 team, they're starting to show why they were voted the number 1 team in the state and then would be able to start the season. They're playing against competition that may be a little bit less than them right now, but, Penn Hills is coming up on the season. Baldwin is much improved, so Woodland Hills just needs to stay focused right now.
And again, Woodland Hills will head back to the Wolverina a week from tonight, and they will host the Baldwin Highlanders. Our coverage will start at 7:10 p.m. from the Wolverina all across the Woodland Hills Football Network with the kickoff at 7:30. And again, it's a pivotal game in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, every game from here on out is pivotal in the Southeastern Conference because you can ill avoid to lose another game against anyone because you want to keep that you really do want to keep that first round home playoff game in sight. And, if Upper St. Clair happens, knock on wood, happens to slip up a couple times, then, you're actually conference champion.
Again, Woodland Hills improving their record to 3-2 on the season, 3-1 in the Southeastern Conference with today's 49-10 victory over the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. Folks, on the television side, we thank you for joining us all across the Woodland Hills Football Network. We've got to thank our executive producer and director for television, Larry George III, our technical director and broadcast engineer, Lee Schaefer Jr., our camera operators, Lee Schaefer Jr., Lee Schaefer III, and Joseph Slick. Of course, I'm Adam Gusky alongside Fred Guy. And we've got to thank Lee Schaefer III one more time for getting our game live on our Woodland Hills Football Network website at woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com. The first ever live streamed away game for the Wolverines, and it was great to have you along with us for this one. Again, Woodland Hills takes on Baldwin next Friday night, kickoff at 7:30. Our coverage starts at 7:10 p.m. Folks, on the television side, we'll talk to you again next week. On the radio side, stay tuned for the State Senator Jay Costa postgame show. You've been tuned into the Wolverines and the Blue Devils on MSA Sports and the Woodland Hills Football Network.